Ah, you have come out to see me. Welcome to chess, ladies and gentlemen. All right, man, I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. So I did go ahead and grab a chess.com match between Wesley So and Salem Saleh of the United Arab Emirates. So all my people coming from the Philippines, as always, I will say Maraming Salamat. Anybody who is coming from the UAE or anywhere they speak Arabic, I will say Shukran Jazilan. I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. This game was played August 24th, so about a week and maybe a little change ago. But it is a super roller coaster game, so you got to stick around, man, and take a look at it. You're going to enjoy this game, too. So if you guys are ready to go, man, let's take a look and see what we got for this game, son. All right, so we got the move E4, and then the game's over. No, I'm playing with y'all. But it is best by test, as Bobby Fischer said. We do see the move C5. We got knight to F3. We got D6. We got D4, pawn takes D4, pawn takes D4, knight goes to F6. We got knight to C3 and the move A6. So we do have the Najdorf variation of the Sicilian defense. Probably one of the most, probably like I say, top three, you know, most famous chess openings. Pretty much when people are talking in their circles, they're like, hey, man, the Najdorf, you know what I'm saying? It's like super famous. But, you know, when you do play Sicilians, this is really kind of like literally throughout the entire game. You'll see like A3, A6, and you're basically saying, hey, bro, I don't want anything to live on this square. You see that white has pretty much all their pieces that can kind of come on this square and make, you know, give black some problems. So we're like, hey, bro, we're going to knock that all the way out. We're not going to have you doing anything on that square so that we see that. We do see bishop going to E3. Now, I mean, this is like a heavily played move. This is like the third best move, or the third top move that you generally see. Basically, white is saying, you know, we're not going to see any G4 stuff, bro. So don't put a knight there. Don't put a bishop there. You generally do see bishop to E3, you know, when you are playing this from the white side. So, you know, you really kind of don't want a knight to G4 to come because you just placed your bishop on a good square. So that is why we see bishop to E2. We got the move E6. One of the main ideas for black is to try to push D5. So E6 just kind of helps them do that. You know, also knight to D5 can be a thing, especially when you do your idea of going B5, expanding on this queen side. Usually you see a B4 or a B5 and then B4, and sometimes that can make this E4 pawn kind of shaky. So, you know, we don't want any knight to D5 stuff coming. Oop, I didn't mean to do that. We don't want any knight to D5 stuff coming in there. So we do see bishop to E3. We do see the move queen to C7. All very standard stuff in this opening. We do see A4 because, like I said, black is thinking at some point that they do want to play B5, B4 idea. It is a very, very strong idea. So we're just saying, hey, bro, we're going to go ahead and smash that from jump. We do see the move B6. We got F4. And the thing that I do want to mention in this position, you know, anytime you throw F4 up, you do kind of have to be careful castling kingside because, you know, like, of course, in this position, we have B6 played, so we don't have any queen to B6 stuff. But once the bishop has moved somewhere, this pawn can be kind of weak, so you might have, like, queen B6 checking, and this is a very annoying thing to have go on. So usually when you push bishop to E3, you are kind of covering that diagonal, so that's kind of an important move to toss in there. We do see bishop to B7, hitting E4. We got bishop to F3, knight B to D7. And we do see queen to E2. And the crazy thing is, I know what you guys are thinking. You're like, bro, white is kind of in danger, right? Like, I mean, the king is just kind of opened up in the center of the board. The king is absolutely 100% safe. So you're good to go, man. Don't even worry about it. You do see rook going to C8. And basically, Wesley So's like, bro, I dare you to castle queenside. Just do it, bro. Like, everything is going to be okay, man. Just do that. And then I'm going to knock your knight out the way and just checkmate you, man. There's nothing to see here. But we do not see that. We actually see the move a G4. Then we do see E5. I mean, you know, basically, you know, white is literally trying to steamroll you on the king side. So you have to push back some kind of way. D5 is not suggested in this position. It just really kind of opens things up against your king, so you don't want to do that. So we do see the move E5, trying to press against, you know, white's nicely placed pieces in the center of the board. And what does white do? He says, bro, I don't even care what you're doing with E5. I'm going to go G5. And this is the novelty of the game. The other question that you have to ask is this giving up a piece as white? Absolutely it is. 100%. It is giving up this knight in the center. But you do have some nice counterplay to compensate you. So we do see the loss of our pawn. So let's mourn the knight. It's gone. It's not coming back. So we do see bishop taking d4, and this knight is still hit on f6. But the major thing that you do have to be paying attention to is that this king is still actually stuck in the center of the board. So you do kind of have a little bit going on. We got queen to c4, and Wesley So was like, bro, just trade queens and everything's going to be okay. Like, it's going to get real quiet. It's not going to be quiet. If you are white in this position, absolutely under zero circumstances, do you trade queens, homie? Don't do it. So we do see queen going to f2. If you literally trade queens here, your entire attack is completely gone. And black just literally has an extra piece for free. You just donated a piece. So we do see queen to f2. We got knight going back to g8. It's pretty much the only move. We got long castles by Salem. And, you know, like I said before, you know, like, why would you castle queenside? In this position, you're actually very, very safe. This bishop is held, the knight's held, it's holding this pawn. You can try to go maybe like a knight to c5, but you're kind of blocking your rook. So everything is actually everything if you are on the white side. You are primed and ready to go once you prepare it with one more move to go rook over here and try to open up the center of the board. We do see knight to e7 trying to get that knight back into place some kind of way. And then the rook h does come to e1. And I mean, black is about 2 moves away from getting their king into safety. So we absolutely cannot allow that to happen. We do see knight going to c6. We got bishop down to e2 hitting this queen. We do see queen stepping over to b4, and then we do see bishop to g4. Now, honorable mention was actually to go bishop to g4 immediately and just start to attack, you know, black's position right here. But we do see bishop going to e2 first. The queen sidesteps over to b4. We do see bishop to g4 now. So it's kind of one of those things where you kind of realize what you should have did like one move too late. And sometimes it's a little bit too late. But it's not here. We do see knight taking d4. We got rook taking d4. And then we do see rook going to c4. And everything actually has shifted into Wesley So's favor in this exact position. And like I said before, you are absolutely trying to trade pieces down. It just eases the pressure against your king, and you are up an entire piece. So we do actually see knight to d5, and I got 2 guess the moves in this game. This is the first one. There is an absolutely crushing move that Wesley So can play here, and it is absolutely 100% winning. So if you do want to pause the video and try to guess that move, go ahead and do so. Okay, so like I said before, you're trying to trade pieces as much as possible. One of the things that you absolutely do not want to do under any circumstances is go bishop takes d5. This just opens up your king, and it causes you a very, very huge headache. So we don't want to do that. So if you guessed that, you kind of just like went down without swinging. You kind of just jumped off a cliff. So don't do that. The move that I have here, it's a very actually subtle move, but it does force some things, and it is queen to c5. The problem is this now. You are actually pinning this rook to this queen because the queen is actually undefended. So you have to kind of do something. There's really kind of 2 options. You can kind of go kamikaze with this, or you can go a rook e to d1, which is actually the best move. Rook e to d1, but there's a very important point behind this move. This rook right here was on this file right here. So once bishop took, it did open up an attack on the king. So that is very important. But now you have to go into defense mode. And you have to move your rook off of that file. So now bishop takes d5 is definitely suggested. You're not worried about any checks now. The pawn takes d5 and then bishop e7, and you are covering and you are castling most likely next move, and everything is good. You're also able to start doing some trades if you are black. So everything is everything, man. But we do not actually see that in the game. After we see knight takes d5, Wesley So does go bishop takes d5. And you see the bar. The bar is like, bro, I do not like this, man. Why are we doing this? There's a very, very nice way that Salem can actually play the game, and we got to try to see if he hooks it up. Obviously, you're going to take on d5. This is going to be like automatically what you're going to do. You have opened up a check against your king. Bishop e7 is pretty much like the best way to go about doing this, and we have reached the other guess the move portion of the game. There is a specific way that you have to play this going forward, or you basically just kind of give the game, you know, somewhat back to, you know, black. So if you want to pause the video and try to guess the special super significant move, go ahead and do so. Okay, so there's a very important idea in the position. There's kind of like a defensive resource that Wesley So actually has if you do not play this correctly, if you are Salem. So the problem in this position that we actually see in the game is we see rook taking e7 first. And this is not the move that I was talking about, but what I did want to be able to do is kind of show you guys why this is not the correct way to go about doing it. This does check the king, and it is very forcing. The king takes on e7. We do see queen to e2 a check, which might kind of seem like, hey, man, I mean, I'm just winning this rook back. I mean, I sacrificed the rook. I'm getting the rook back. The problem is Wesley So has knight to e5, and this does block things, and it causes a lot of problems for white in this position. And this is 1000% won by black. It does create the blocking that you need against the king. So going back in this position here, if you guess the move, bishop takes d7 with check first, then you would be absolutely correct. I mean, I applaud you. That is very, very great. What you have done is you have seen a couple of moves in, and you do realize now that you have removed the major defender of that rook takes e7 idea. So you would be seeing king takes d7, rook takes, and then the king takes, and then this is a completely different situation. This is now completely lost for black because you are checking, you are double attacking this rook, and there is nothing for black to do than to just move the king somewhere out of the way. Once you move the king anywhere, you're going to be taking right here. You're going to be taking this way. Absolutely do not take like this because this is checkmate. So you would be taking with the rook first. So you are good to go. But like I said, we did not see that. So we had two different situations where both players was like, hey, man, like they had complete wins and they kind of overlooked it. They're not really in time trouble. They got like a minute and a half each. So, I mean, it's not really even kind of bullety yet. But like I said, we did see after bishop e7, we did see this variation right here. And it kind of seems like you're doing it. And then you see this move and you're like, oh, man. He's just sacrificing his knight to block, bro. So we do see the move c3. We got rook taking c3 with check. We got pawn taking c3. We do see queen taking c3 with check. We got queen blocking on c2. And we actually see queen taking d4. And we get into a complete repetition. We got queen to c7 with check. The king goes up. And then we do see a threefold repetition. And this is a draw. Now, going back. This is something that I did want to specifically point out because I mention this all the time. And I literally just said it like two games ago, I believe. Okay. This is still completely won for black in this position here. We got queen going to c2 blocking your situation. Now you have two major moves that you can make. You got queen taking c2 with check, and then you literally have a complete win in this position right here. If you are black, you're going to be taking the bishop. So if we just kind of look and see what that looks like, I mean, the queen would take, and we got this right here, and now you're just up an entire piece, right? So you are absolutely 100% good to go. But going back in the position here, this is something, like I said, I mention all the time. Now, you do want to take this rook on d4, right? But the thing is, can you kind of create a situation where you check the king and then move the king to a desirable square and then check and then capture the rook with check? You absolutely do. You got queen to a1 with check, and this doesn't force king to d2, but I mean, if you go queen down here, you're going to be losing the rook anyway. So you would probably be seeing something like this. And then you do now have queen taking d4, but it comes with check. So sometimes you kind of have to like give a check to force your opponent onto a square that they don't absolutely want to be on. Then you're able to take the piece that you want, like a pawn or a piece or whatever, and you do have a much more favorable position. So it is crazy, this game right here, that it ended up in a draw, and it was like literally roller coastery. So that is very insane, but I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. All of my people in the Philippines, I will say magandang umaga, magandang hapon if you watch this later on. Kamusta na aking magkaibigan? Mabuhay! Anybody who is coming up from Emirates, I will say assalamu alaikum, habibi. I'll say kefahalik sadikan. I also like to say what do I say? Fariki. So I talked to a lot of my guys at the airport, and I was asking them. I learned the word for farik. For team, like sports team, and I said, can I say Fariki? And it was like, yes. I was like, Fariki. So I got them hooked up. So Kefa Halkam Fariki. I appreciate you guys very much, and I'm going to see y'all next time.